I would say that in 1993, when this case was fought, 30 years back, I also wrote in some magazines. I don't think anybody took serious of the story behind this particular case. You know, print media has got a very limited influence. And later, to some other cinema directors, I have told this story also. But then it also requires the imagination of a director. In this case, director Janavel, who was my friend, who was also a print journalist. And once after my retirement, I was going to Neyveli for a book fair. I was supposed to inaugurate. He came along with me in the same car. This particular place where this incident took place was around the Neyveli town. Therefore, I showed him the village where they lived, the police station where they were tortured, where the body was thrown. All this, when I told him, he could imagine a story in this. So when we came back, he asked me for the documents of this case. But by the time I became a senior and then later as a judge, where are the documents? After 30 years, we don't keep all those documents. But with great difficulties, we were able to get some of the basic documents. And once that was there, he wrote the story and went to Surya, who's his friend, who's also the owner of this production company. And he asked him, will you support this? And Surya said that his company will financially support the film. Whether he's acting is not very sure. Later, Janavel did not give up. He wrote the full script and again read it out to Surya. Then Surya said that if there is no other character for the lawyer, I will do the character. And that became one of the major factors for this film. And secondly, when we started working on the film, we didn't want to stop it as a crime story. If it is a story of Rajakant and Sageni, people would have had very limited patience. Therefore, we wanted to show the larger life of the tribal community and therefore their place where they live, how they live, what they eat, what is their festival, how they treat death, and all this, the entire the canvas of the tribes that has been brought into the film. Then Janavel wanted to have a documentary on my life, which I refused. Then some other incidents in my life were also brought in as a character. He took my permission to use my name. Only two names were real names. That is the Inspector General Perumal Sami and Lawyer Chandru. Then when these three combinations came, that there is a society which lives in a more inhuman condition, which faces the state repression. And Rajakant case is only a typical example of a decriminalized or a denotified tribes. And when the shooting started, there were COVID, we could not have outdoor shooting, and the courts never permit shooting to take place in the court halls. So we got to put up a set, and we also told Surya, the court scenes are very monosyllable arguments. In the High Court, they do not entertain shouting and talking in high tone. There is no heroine in the story. There is no fight. Therefore, it may not fit into a formula, but with great generosity agreed that let me do some different stories. When all these things took place, we went to the rush, we saw the film, and then we realized that how much it will be taken by the people. We also decided to release in 5 different languages and also put an English subtitle along with that, because that's a requirement in OTT when you show for an international audience. The second day we could realize that it is going to generate a great interest among the audience. That was the greatest success, which we did not imagine earlier. This is one important factor I must tell you. And secondly, whether it will face any reprisal, that's another question. But I must thank Kerala for 2 reasons. One is that the 2 nephews of the deceased Rajakant, they were working as a domestic servants in Kollam district, and their addresses were not to be found. And without their presence, the case could not be established, because Rajakant is dead and gone, and nobody has seen what happened in the lockup. So we took a drive. That was not a lawyer role. We had a great difficulty in bringing the case to the court, because the court were asking solid proof. And what is the proof except this lady's statement, who has not seen anything inside the lockup? Whatever she saw is outside, and she never saw the husband. And therefore, the case came to a standstill. By the time the division bench composition changed and Mishra took over, that's one great victory. The second was, during the interregnum period, we started searching for these people, and there is no clue where they were to be found. Fortunately, the two sons sent some money order. Those days, money order, you must have seen, now it is abolished. The money order was sent to the mother, some 20 rupees. The money order, you can write some few lines for the relatives or the recipient, and they are not very educated, so they never wrote anything. But they had the seal of Kollam district, Koilan. So we came to Koilan, went to some union office, asked them, do you help us to find out some two Tamil laborers from? They said, we have a huge district, where to go? We said, we have no other to go. And therefore, they sent cadres to different villages, and they were able to find in one village these two Adivasi boys were working. When we went to them, half the case was over, but then they were refusing to come. They were mortally afraid of the police. And then cajoling them and saying that their uncle's justice is important, they should contribute. Finally, I took them to my office, kept them in the office, fed them, made a statement, and produced before Justice Mishra. And that became the turning point in this case, because there are eyewitnesses who saw real murder taking place in a police lockup in the name of torture. And then only the SIT came, then the murder trial, which took 13 years, then the appeal took 3 more years. And therefore, the movie, for the purpose of a creative work, some of the things have been changed. This was not the original thing. There were so many side stories in this film. For example, the corruption. It was not the DGP who offered. It was the policeman who offered the 1 lakh. And she was just earning 100 rupees. And the bribe was 1,000 times more, and she refused. That's the greatest thing. A person who earns 100 rupees, she refused 1,000 times of amount, saying, I will not. Speak to my lawyer. And then the police came to my office and then wanted to offer in a suitcase full of cash. I have never seen in my life somebody is offering cash like that. I was so much taken back. I could not know how to react. Then I immediately went to the court and complained to the judges that these two policemen are coming to my office and offering bribe. Then the notice was ordered to the DGP. DGP was summoned. And DGP said, I don't know, but then I'll take action. For the first time, all the policemen were suspended, not for their action in the police station, but for the improper conduct of approaching the other side lawyer. All of them were suspended. That was the second victory in our case. And the lawyer who appeared in the criminal trial, his house was attacked, his library was burnt, his car was burnt, and we got police protection through court orders, and then we got compensation for those lawyers. There are so many incidents that took place along this, but for the purpose of a clear story, and we didn't want to make the hero a superhero, and therefore some of the scenes were cut out, and in the audience interest some scenes were added. Somebody asked whether it is real. The moment you put some background music, it is not real. Therefore you should think no film is a real film because you are having some background music. In this case, there are several other incidents that are added, and the life of the Irulas, that was most real. That is most important in this case, because that brought the entire plight of the whole community. In that sense, we had a greater audience interest, because a community which lives by snake shamans, a community who believes in environmental thing. You see, they never, we worship all the snakes by Nagaraja and Nagatamman and so many things, but they never kill even a single snake. And the snake catches a rat, and the rat is destroyed, which will be saving the grains. And these people are really the friends of the farmer. These are all the things which have been brought in, and the people who are doing performance, they have been given a training for nearly 2 months. They lived with them to know how they work, what they eat, and how they live. And there's a very cooperation we got from the film stars. That's a very important thing. And we also learned several things out of this film. And it's a long story that I need not say. But one thing I can tell you, that Raja Khanna and his wife were Though taken to the police station for 3 days, no villager went to them to ask for. There is no inclusiveness. They don't belong to the village. Therefore, I told the judge, unless they have a house in that village, nobody will come to their rescue. In any other community, the village leaders would have gone and asked the police why you are detaining a man for 3 days. In this case, nobody came because they don't belong to the village. Only 2 members of the tribal were living in that village. So the judge wrote in the order that the argument of the learned council is very important, that we direct the collector to give them a house site in the same village. A house site was given to them in the same village also, and compensation was given to them for the first time. Previously, for police attack, compensations are hardly given by the court. Some costs are given. These are the issues. This led to a greater amount of legal victory. When I talk about Kerala, not only these boys were there, even to cite a judgment, we cited the judgment of Rajan. Judges were asking in a habeas corpus whether evidence can be let in or not. Then we showed the Rajan's case, and that was accepted, and then evidence was recorded. And that is how there are several things that took place in this case. But the major victory was a life of a whole tribe was shown in this film. When we went to outdoor shooting, we wanted to locate some of the Yerula habitat. We could not find out where they were living. And I remembered the director was telling in a press interview, when Mahatma Gandhi said, India lives in villages, Dr. Ambedkar asked him, Babuji, which village you are talking about? Every village, there are 2 villages. There's a Ur, there's a colony. Then which village you are talking about? When we went to locate for outdoor shooting, we found there is a 3rd village. We went and asked the colony, where are these Travirala people? They showed some other place. There are no road, there are no light, there are no water supply, no ration card. They are not even voters in these elections. Nothing is given to them, no Aadhaar card, nothing. They were being totally isolated from the village. There is a total exclusion. No development scheme has ever gone to them by the government. Though in Tamil Nadu, it's only 1% population. Less than 8 lakh people are living under the Adivasi category. But then no development activities ever gone to them. But after the film, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu who saw the film within 2 days, he was so moved and he started doing something for this Adivasi. He has done 2 things. One is that he has asked all the district collectors to give a report as to why, how many people are living under any district and why no development scheme has gone to them. If it's not gone to them, all the revenue officers must give an explanation. So there is a feverish activity now on this. He himself has gone to several tribal settlements and started activating the officers to work for them. And the production company gave 1 crore rupee for the Yerula Protection Society for their development. Now they are starting a students' hostel for those people. Because these people are always migrant, the students also lose their education from going to place. Now because of this money, they are starting a hostel, residential hostel for the Yerula boys. Some things are changing now. That way, we are happy we are able to trigger a new debate on the issue of the life of Adivasis and a measure to bring them as an inclusive part of the society.